Welcome, guys, gals, ghouls, friends, fiends, foes, anyone who may be listening tonight beyond the Omniverse. And thank you so much for being here tonight on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. As a forewarning, secure your tinfoil hats, buckle down tight, and hold on loosely as we soar over the rocky tops of the La Platas on a rocky mountain high, get sucked into the vortex of the Four Corners, and settle down snugly at mile marker 420 in colorful Colorado. It is Sunday, November 12th, Monday, November 13th for those of you across the pond and beyond. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, and thank you so much for joining us once again on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. I hope you guys have had an awesome weekend so far. Mine's been pretty laid back and good. We did have a little bit of camera difficulties last night. That was so crazy. Like the pictures fell off my wall and hit the cord, and we just couldn't get me back on. Luckily, our guest, Mr. Dean McMurray, finished out the show for me. I hope to have him back in the future. He was amazing, and I hope to have him do some readings because, I don't know, I just felt something really special about him, and really look forward to that. He was actually helping somebody in the chat right before the show ended, and that was pretty cool. So if you're listening to us right now on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies, you may be listening to us live on KPNL Radio, which you can find on KPNL Radio at kpnl-db.com. You may also find us on eTalk Radio, which you can find at etalk.tv/radio. If you want to look us up under We Are Paradox Media, you can find us right now, live as far as video, on Facebook and YouTube. If you don't mind, mosey on over there and give us a like on our video, and please subscribe and leave us any comments, whether good or bad, or any guests that you'd like to have on in the future. We have Miss Colleen Yates. Hi, Colleen. She's here from Birmingham, UK. Would love to know if there's any messages from the spirit realm. Well, we'll get back to you soon, Colleen. Let us finish up here. So if you're listening on any podcasts, you can basically listen anywhere you listen to any of your podcasts. So make sure you tune into us there. Please like, subscribe everywhere. So tonight I have a treat for all my guys and gals out there. This is a psychic weekend. We have Mr. Alan Wright. Alan was born in 1949. in Phoenix, Arizona, and was raised by a loving mother and grandparents on his mother's side. Alan and his wife Lori have known each other since 2000. Lori is also a medium. Alan and Lori were married in 2008. Alan retired in 2010, and then they moved to Utah in 2012. Alan started writing in 2015. It was supposed to be sort of one book deal, but that one book turned into 9 books on paranormal experiences that Alan had had in his life. As a child, Alan thought he was normal, but found out very quickly that he wasn't by the teasing and remarks by the other kids, and I can totally relate to that. That's why I went into the paranormal closet, is because kids are just mean, especially in the South. They just like to pick. So Alan kept his abilities secret until he retired because how a lot of people thought of mediums. Some people call his abilities gifts, which I agree. Alan has had people call him a witch, which is unfortunate. And he felt at times that his gifts were a curse. Alan actually, doesn't worship the devil like people said, but is the furthest from that. Alan has and holds the priesthood under God, and his blessings start out in the name of Jesus Christ and end in the name of Jesus Christ, which is very important because our big brother really looks out for us. Alan has healed people who asked him for a blessing. Alan has seen the future in the form of dreams and visions. He gives readings to people who want to know about their future or to contact a dear departed loved one. Welcome, Alan, and like I said before, thank you so much for coming back and being patient with my paratechnical issues.
Well, thank you a lot with my issues. Thank you for having me back.
I'm so grateful. And it was funny. I got that message earlier and took a picture of it with my phone. I'm like, did you get this message? It was so weird because I had never seen that before. But I'm glad you upgraded and did what you needed to do to get back in here.
Yeah, really.
So,
I tried hard. It was a lot of work last hour before the show.
oh wow, really? Man, technology is supposed to make everything easier, but I don't know about you, but for me, I have so many technical issues. It's insane.
I
I'm like,
gave
oh, thank you. Yeah, I burned some sage. I burned some sage. I'm like, get back, dark spirits. Be gone. They're what?
They're calm on my side too. They're kind of laid back. I think it's because of the weather.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing that. Generally, I'll burn sage and then Palo Santo. I've learned to do that before shows. I should do that after shows too because it's weird how the paranormal can travel to great distances. You know, I've known people in the past who partake in like a spirit box session or whatnot and then get attacked or whatever. And it's just amazing how they can travel far distances and actually harm people.
I have a story about that. I was giving a reading to a lady in the UK, and I'm sorry, I was in Wisconsin. I was in Phoenix, Arizona at the time. Yeah, and anyway, and in the course of the reading, I brought her father. I was giving her messages from her father, and she started saying, boy, I wish I could my father again. And I said, boy, your father wants to feel you too. He says he's going to be over there right now. And sure enough, she says, oh my God, I can feel him. So, you know, they can travel great distances in a matter of seconds. Yeah, that's true.
Yes, exactly. And I don't know. So I've taken my kids to church. I missed church today because I slept in. I am not a morning person. I'm sorry. I try my hardest, but we did miss church today. But they got baptized, and I'm not a religious person, but I do believe like a base of faith is very important. For their futures, so I want them to learn certain things. But yeah, it was just really frustrating because the missionaries that we talk to quite often were saying, well, there's no ghosts because ghosts, you know, people go to heaven and they don't stay here, but I don't believe that. I believe that people stay here, you know, partially because they could have a traumatic death or something like that, or maybe they have unfinished business, or maybe they don't want to leave their loved ones and they want to look over them. Like, there's so many different reasons for things to say, and I do believe that there are dark spirits just like there's dark people. And I do believe in demons and angels, and this world is amazing. I don't know if you've noticed, but I believe for the past 10 years especially, but looking at the past 5 years, I've just felt a major upsweep in paranormal activity. And it kind of scares me because I wonder, is it because, you know, the end times are coming? And my daughter, her birthday is today, my eldest, and when I was pregnant with her is when I started having visions about the future, and it's really scary. You know, what's going on in Hamas and Israel, like, will be happening here. And oh, I'm getting goosebumps right now. Like, it really frightens me. Do you pick up on anything like that at all as far as our future goes?
Well, about a couple months before COVID hit, I was a co-host on Crossover Connect, and I had a feeling, a dread feeling, you know, like something was going to happen. I couldn't put my fingers on it, And my spirit guide didn't let me know what it was either. I knew something was coming, I just didn't know what it was. And all of a sudden they started talking about COVID and how it was coming out of China and everything. And it hit me. That was what I was feeling. Because the COVID hit, that dreadful feeling went away, you know?
Yeah, because it's here.
Yeah, because it's here. So, anyway, we went through COVID and everything. But then I started getting that dreadful feeling again. And this time I was told that there's another pandemic coming. This time it's going to be worse than the first one. And it's going to be coming probably within the next year. I got that feeling again. I got that feeling something coming, and I was told that another pandemic.
Yeah, it's awesome that you say that about having that feeling before COVID hit, because Chris Garcia, we have him on every month. I've had him on since I was on Spaced Out Radio. We're really close friends, but we all had that feeling like something's about to happen, something's about to hit, and we didn't know what it was. We couldn't put our finger on it, but we just had that feeling. And we also, me and a woman in the after party, a good friend of mine, she'll probably pop in here later, Sandra, had a shared dream, and that really blew me away. And there was some future times. I got my Gran Torino back up and running. And yeah, it felt like we were back in Arkansas or somewhere like that. Could be Kansas, could be Arkansas, could be somewhere. But there was tons of trees and bushes. The road was overgrown, and it was an old white church. And I just remember looking across the car to her and being like, we gotta go right now. And she's like, well, I gotta go get my husband. Just give me a minute. And she ran in there, and she said when she went up to the stairs, there was blood on the stairs going into these rooms. And then when she went into the room, opened the door and went into the room, there was bodies hanging on hooks and all kinds of craziness. But I just remember something was coming. I don't know if it's aliens, UFOs, or, cannibals or what. Could be cannibals because of what was going on in that church. But there was a whole line of cars, and everybody's like turning around where they can, trying to get out. Have you or your listeners or followers had shared visions like that as well, or?
Well, the vision that I had is that what's going on in the world today now is part of that process of that's mentioned in the Bible. And you can almost get a lawn chair out grab a bag of popcorn and watch the thing right now, because they're mentioned in the Bible. And I was told that the things that we should be doing right now before all this stuff starts hitting, we're lucky because we live in the United States, way far away from most of this. But what we can do right now, this is what I'm told to me by my spirit guide and so on, we should be coming together as a family. Why? Because families are strength. Satan only has one purpose, and that purpose is to tear the family up, and he's doing a pretty good job of it.
Yeah.
But the families need to come together. They need to be ready for when this stuff hits, because as a family, you can have one person do the garden, you can have another person do something else, and it divides the work, and you become stronger as a family. There's more love, everything. I was told also that if you can't do that stuff, that you need to prepare by put things away, buying a little bit extra each week and grocery list, and paper products especially. There's going to be, what I saw in my vision was the grocery stores for the absolutely the shelter.
Hmm.
So, you have to buy like canned fruit, canned food if you want to. And,
Yeah, dried goods, dehydrated
yeah,
things.
yeah, exactly. And keep it someplace in your house where when the time comes, you'll be able to use it, water. Nobody thinks about storing water. Y'all just thought
Yeah,
store
because it's so
water.
plentiful. We think we'll always have it, but there's going to be a time like the electricity is going to be gone, the water is going to be gone. Like we're not going to have all these amenities that we're used to.
Yeah.
And what you said about the paper products makes tons of sense because of exactly that.
Yeah. Uh, we've been very fortunate because that's pretty much this except for COVID. But it's coming our way now. And there's countries over there that don't like us, they hate us.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Dirty Americans.
yeah, and they're going to do their best. They're going to try to bring it over here, and they will. They're going to succeed. In
Well,
my
I think
book,
it's already happening, like with our border. Trump was trying to build the wall, which I didn't really agree with. Because people travel for so long without water and food and everything. They go through hell just to get here. But there's other people with different agendas coming across as well. And it really scares me with the numbers that are coming over.
yeah. Well, I think somebody should police it. Somebody should be able to control what's coming across our border.
Right?
We shouldn't just let any Tom, Dick, and Harry go across the border and say, here we are, we're here.
Yeah. And I'm not racist. Like, none of us originated here. Like, we all came here from somewhere else. And we're all imports. So I have nothing wrong with people coming here. You just have to go through the proper channels.
Exactly. I had relatives that came over, ancestors that came over on the Mayflower. I also had ancestors that fought in the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, and the War of 1812. They were in all of the wars. So you could say, my family's been in America for a long, long time. And
Yeah.
and it's kind of hard to see some of these people come across. They don't have driver's licenses. They don't have any ID. Most of them. It just bothers me. It really does. But anyway, that's neither here and there. Pretty soon we won't have to worry about it anyway. In my
Right?
book, Things to Come, that's my last book. It tells about some of the things that's going to be happening in the end times. And a lot of, like volcanoes. Volcanoes are happening. Earthquakes are happening. It's not that you say, well, earthquakes happen all the time anyway. These earthquakes are going to be tremendous. They're going to be
Yeah.
bigger than usual. Same
Ones that
way
have been
with
sleeping for a while, they're going to wake up.
same way with tornadoes. There's
Mm-hmm.
going to be more of them. They're going to be stronger than they've ever been. Hurricanes, same way. They're going to be big, bad, and ugly. And we have to. I've been telling people that live along the coastline of Eastern America that perhaps it would be best for them to move inward, move
I agree.
away from the
Not in the middle of the country because I think there's already a split happening there. I feel like we're going to split apart and there's going to be some sort of, canal or something there. Glad I don't live in Arkansas anymore because that's going to be like beachfront property. I don't know. There's so many crazy things coming. And like you said, these things are happening. There's volcanoes waking up.
Yeah.
There's earthquakes in places where there weren't earthquakes before. And this is just a preemptive strike as far as what's about to happen.
Well, when this stuff happens too, one of the first things that's going to go is law and order.
Yeah.
It's going to be kind of hard to have a police force and law and order when you have all this chaos going on, especially if your country is in a war.
Yeah, and people are already calling for to get rid of the police force. Are you serious? Like, that's the worst thing you can do. We
Yeah,
actually really need those guys. They're very important for us to stay this way because I don't know if you agree, but people have changed so much over the last 20 years. I am more afraid of people than I am the paranormal, really. They really freak me out. The way people's morals and different things they think are okay and are putting into the world today. I don't know if you agree, but I don't know. It's kind
I
of creepy.
well, I'm 74 years old, and I like that program on Patrol Live. You know, I watch it every weekend, and these police officers, they pull over somebody, and the first thing out of their mouths from the people that they pull over is an argument. You know, and some of them are really mean and nasty, calling the policemen names and everything else. You know, and I'm going, whoa. You know, back when I was first driving, or even now, you know, I had respect for the police officers. I mean, uh, I just didn't do that. I don't think many people did back at my age and during that time. But now it seems like almost all the time they're wanting to fight with the police officers. But
Yeah, no
anyway,
respect for authority. That's kind of the way it is with kids, too. That's weird. I don't know what that Spike song was. Hey, Travis. Welcome, Travis. We got Travis from Alberta, Canada. That's where my grandma came from. Um,
hi Travis.
okay, so Pauline said, I'm new here from Birmingham, UK, and I don't think she's here anymore, but let's do this anyways. Maybe she can look back and receive this message, but she would love to know if there is any messages from the spirit realm. Please, she said, nicely.
For her or in general?
For her, I believe. Could you do a for her and then do a general as well?
I could try.
Okay.
I I'm picking up a female. She's elderly. I wish she was here so I could tell her the message that her grandmother's given her.
Yeah, let me send her a message and let her know that we're on. Go to her Facebook page really quick. It's pretty awesome that you're picking up on that. Dang it, why is it not pulling up? I think because I'm in the wrong page.
But anyway, her
I'm trying,
grandmother's telling
Colleen.
me she that she loves her and that she is proud of her, that she's doing the things that she should be doing. And she's telling me that she feels that maybe she's had some trouble, family trouble, and she would like it if it was possible for her to maybe work it out.
So it's
Uh,
worth it to work it out.
Yeah, it would be. She's telling me. She's she also has quite a few relatives that has passed over. Most of them are standing in behind her, and I'm going to send her grandmother over to her, and I'm going to do the same thing as I did the other time. And she's she's standing on the right hand side of, is her name Colleen?
Mm-hmm.
And she's giving her a hug and she's kissing her on her cheek. And I hope she feels this. A lot of times when they do this, you get chill bumps on the side where they're at, or a
Mm-hmm.
cool. And she's giving her a hug and a kiss. she's telling me she wishes she could communicate with herself. But again, she's telling me to tell her that she loves her, and she's tremendously proud of her.
Oh,
She has she has uncles and aunts. She's got quite a few people back there. I see her great grandparents also. They're back there. She's gonna have a big wait a minute. Her grandmother's telling me that she's one of her guardian angels, and that she's gonna be when it's her time to cross over. She's gonna be there to help her through the veil. Her and her grandfather. I don't think her grandfather's passed yet, but she says that her and her grandfather, and I think it's her great grandfather is going to be there to help her through, plus everybody else too. But they're going to be the ones that officially takes her and helps her across into the spirit world.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, she's a pretty nice lady from what her grandmother tells me. And she's backing off now. But
Yeah,
yeah,
she just wants her to know she's doing a good job. Keep it up, and she's here watching over her. That's amazing.
yeah, she is. Okay, she's kind of backed off now. I hope
She's
she
like,
felt
I
that
said
hug
what I
though.
had to say.
Yeah. She also said something about her job, and she's glad that she's doing well at work. That's that's it. She's backed off now. But anyway, yeah, I've noticed now too that in the spirit world, it seems like
Uh-oh. You totally left. You're back. Okay. In the spirit world, it seems like what? Maybe they didn't want you to say that.
in the spirit world, it seems like they're gathered around it, like in family groups more now, and I think they know something's coming on too. Um,
hmm
and they're prepared. There's going to be a lot of death going on, and there's going to be a lot of spirits that's going to be crossing over, and they're going to need help. You know, when we
Well, yeah, and it
die,
even
our spirit
says.
crosses.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No,
Well,
go
I was gonna
ahead.
say, like in the Bible, it even says like there's gonna be a spirit army. Like we need as many spirits as we can for
Yeah,
this army against evil. And to me, it's always made sense. Like only the good die young. Like all these people that we know that are such good people that should live full and healthy lives and inspire people as they always have are taken from us early. And I think it's for a reason. Like they need those spirits. They need these people um, for the war that's about to happen. There's not only going to be a World War III and war on Earth, which could be the demise of us because of, Putin and his obsession with nuclear weapons, but even,
I,
the heavens to Earth, there's going to be an epic battle. And a lot of
yeah,
us, I believe I'm going to be here to see it. That's what my patriarchal blessing said. And like I said, I'm not religious, but I've always held that with me. Like, I'm going to be here to see the end times. And I'm scared, but at the same time, like I'm hard and I'm ready. It's going to be really hard, but like you said, with the dried goods and everything, it's really important. Stock up. And it's funny that you said that because this last week I started thinking about it again, and that's the way like a lot of LDS, aka Mormons, and other people like they'll buy rations, they'll buy dehydrated foods and stuff. It's important to have water with that too, and cycle that out and make sure it's good, or have tablets to cleanse water because things are gonna go bad. It's gonna be really hard. A lot of us aren't gonna make it through. A lot of us will. Um,
yeah,
yeah, there's a spirit army being built right now, and we've seen the numbers rising. We're losing people every day. And they're going to the other side. And there's a reason for that.
Exactly. You know, speaking of World War III earlier, I was on this one show, and one of the call-ins asked me. He says, if I knew when World War III was going to start and where it would start at, and I said, well, it's just about ready to start now,
Mm-hmm.
and it's up around the Black Sea area, Poland, into that area there. And then I told him, and also the Middle East. And I couldn't figure out why I said the Middle East. You would think it would
Now it's
be in one
happening.
spread
Yeah.
from there. But apparently, what my spirit guides told me then was true, because um, it started, Russia invaded Ukraine, and
Mm-hmm.
you know where that's going now. That's red hot there. And now Israel and
Hamas.
uh, Hamas, yeah, and
Or Hamas.
that's going to turn into a really big one. That's going to turn into a big one, I'm afraid.
Well, now America
Because
is
when they,
sending troops to Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, wherever the hell they're sending them. We're doing missile strikes. We're
yeah,
doing things. It just seems like Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, he just wants to get his foot in there, and no matter how much we tell him to stop, he just keeps doing it. It's like, let's do billions and billions and billions. I believe in Ukraine. I love Ukraine. I love the people. I don't believe they can win, and I think it'll come to the factor where we're gonna have to go in on that, and that's where I thought it was gonna be. But then this whole thing started happening with Iran or Iraq or Saudi Arabia, wherever the heck we are right now. Like, we just did a bombing the other day, and I'm just like, good lord, like, can we not? We all just get
yeah,
along, but
no, we can't.
no,
No, we can't get along. I
we're
mean,
human.
I believe in the Bible, and
Me
everything I
too.
do. I do not say anything that I can't really back up in the Bible. Uh, um, Things that's coming now are going to be things that you'll be able to almost go word for word in the Bible. Like World War III and the things that's happening in the Middle East and over by Russia. There's a piece in the Bible too, I think, where it says that it's going to be between the bear and the eagle or something like that, and
Yes, it's the
that's Russia and the
bear,
United
the eagle, and the dragon. And even Plato said that.
States.
Plato depicted that. He
Yeah.
said that's basically the end of the world. It'll be the bear, the eagle, and the dragon. And that's Russia, America, and China. If you want to say it like Trump.
Yeah.
I like saying it like Trump because it was fun. Um, it's scary. And it's just like, oh my gosh. And like I said,
Yeah.
it's coming over here. There's people coming over the border all the time. There's a lot of good people, but there's some very, very bad people that, just like Satan, want to do harm to us. They want to end us because they don't agree with us and our agendas, which a lot of our agendas are messed up, but
Yeah,
just let it be.
well, Israel got their country basically in, what was it, 1948, 1947, something like that. They received that through the UN, I think, or somebody got together and said, "Here, this is your plan." I think this was also prophesied in the Bible also, and so it's kind of hard to fight against God and His people. I mean, I'm sorry, just like that 6 Day War there back in what was it, the early 70s. Uh, Israel just went and cleaned their clocks, all of them. That's the reason why they're on the West Bank and where they're at in Gaza right now. That used to belong to those countries, and Israel took it and turned it to their own. Um, so I would kind of hesitate if I was going to attack Israel. Israel has a lot of allies too, with
Mhm.
us and Britain and Canada and a whole bunch of them. So
Well,
anyway,
and it makes me wonder, like, was the reason that Sleepy Joe is, totally backing up Israel is because that is the Holy Land and yada yada, like, he wants to be on the right side. But at this point, I don't feel like they are doing right. Like, they're killing so many children and people. Like, it's insane. And they're like, oh, well, these guys are hiding behind hospitals and places like this. That might be true, but send ground troops. Don't send bombs. Don't kill these babies. Like, it's so sad to see what's going on there and the death of the young ones.
yeah, I think they could have done it in a different way. They could have surrounded the whole Gaza thing, and and had them evacuate
They could have taken them out
the
quick had
yeah.
they gone to the places they think they are, but they're like, nope, we're just going to send bombs, and all these poor children and people in the hospitals and stuff are dying. I don't know. It's pretty
Yeah,
sad and scary. I hate to see
I
it.
agree. Yeah, I agree with you.
I feel
And
so
I think
bad.
Israel will pay for that in the long run pretty soon here.
Yeah, it's
But
going to get bad because so many people don't agree with what they're doing, and they keep saying, okay, we'll do a ceasefire for so many hours for certain days. And then they don't. Then they keep attacking. Like, they're lying. They're not doing what they say they're going to do. And that's just inhumane to me. That is so
boy,
wrong.
last time I was here, I started telling you a story about I had a story that I had like a vision or an astral projection, and it didn't really go across very well, did it?
Yeah, I couldn't hear
So,
you. I'm like, I want to hear what he's saying, but I couldn't hear you because it was like, rant, 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 yee. But I can hear you
so
now.
you want me to tell it again?
Yes, please.
Okay. Um, Back in when I was a child, my grandfather basically taught me everything I knew. Like, he was more of a father figure than my own father was.
Uh-huh.
And when he died in 1982, it kind of tore a chunk out of my heart.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was wondering where he went. Was it true that he went to church? I mean, he was in church every Sunday. He read the Bible all the time, and he was just a good guy. And but I wanted to know for sure where he was at and if he was doing good. If he he did go someplace where he thought he would be going when he died. And in 1983, I went to bed one night, and the minute my head hit the pillow, I was zapped, like I was in like a almost like a uh, near death experience, but it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
vision, but it wasn't out of body experience either. But the only thing I could relate to it would be an astral projection. I couldn't do that until years later. So anyway, what happened was when I entered this vision, I was up in the corner of the hospital room, and I looked down and I saw my body laying on a gurney. And
Oh, no.
first, at first I didn't know it was mine, but I saw this doctor and nurse, and they were kind of leaning over this gurney, talking back and forth. And then I realized what they were talking about, me and my body there. And as soon as I recognized myself, all of a sudden I went up through the ceiling in this room, up through the roof of the hospital, and then I was out over this town. I could see the lights. They had baseball fields and stuff, and their lights were on, and all the lights in this town was on. And I thought that was pretty neat and kind of pretty. And
Mm-hmm.
anyway, uh, I I kept going up, and I was going faster and faster and faster. And the next thing I knew, I was up. I could look down and see the earth. and it was beautiful, with the clouds and the blue oceans and stuff. And as I was looking down, I what I was kind of fearful I was going to go to hell, but
Don't do it,
I mean,
Ellen. Stay away.
yeah, but
You're going the
I
wrong way.
I thought, well, I'm going up, so that's good, maybe I'm not going to hell. So
Yeah.
anyway, about that
What'd you do?
time,
What'd you do, Alan?
it's kind of rough back then,
Right?
but
I was young. I was having fun.
as I was looking at the earth, I thought, what a beautiful place that is up here, but down there it's so ugly, you know, with
Yeah.
wars and murders and rapes and everything mankind has done to the earth and everything. I thought, what a horrible place it is on the surface, but up here it's so beautiful. And then this voice came to me and went straight through my head, right into my brain. That said, the earth is fulfilling the purpose for which it was created. I'll never forget that. The earth is fulfilling the purpose for which it was created. Now, to me, that means that the earth was created, number one, and it was fulfilling a purpose, and that purpose had to be us.
Mm-hmm.
To be us. It was
The
made for us.
scourge we are.
Even the spirits we are.
Yeah.
So anyway, I kept going up and up, and then I was wondering where I was going. That was my next thing. And as I was wondering about that, that voice came to me again. It says, because of the choices that you made, the uh, stumbling blocks that you had to overcome, and the things that you did is the reason why you're at where you're at today.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, I guess that's all right. Good enough. But I kept going faster and up faster and faster and faster. And then I was worried about my family. I was wondering what they were going to do since I wasn't there to support them. And that voice came back again and said, because of the things that you did, your family has to do them the same way. They have to be able to make good choices. They have to be able to overcome the hardships and things that you did so that they too can be like you are today. So that kind of tells me that everybody is kind of responsible for their own salvation, type
Right?
thing. So anyway, I was going faster, and as I look down now, I was among the planets. I could see the planets, and Earth looks like it's out of place. It's beautiful. The rest of the planets look like they look like planets. Earth looks like it shouldn't be there. But anyway, as I moved farther and farther away, and faster, I was in the stars finally,
Oh,
and
wow.
I didn't realize this, but the stars are different colors: yellows, reds, browns, you name it. And
Mm-hmm.
anyway, I kept going faster, and all of a sudden the stars turned into white streaks because I was going so fast. It was like being in a car
Oh,
that's
you're
going
just
along,
streaking by.
yeah, streaking by it. And then all of a sudden it went black, totally black.
Mm.
And I was fearful at this point because I didn't know if that voice was right or not at first. And I was like I could understand where near death experiencers could say that they feel like they were in an enclosure, um, like in a bridge or something, or a tunnel, because that's kind of what it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
But all of a sudden, I saw a pinhole of light in front of me, and that pinhole of light was getting bigger and bigger and bigger as I got closer to it. And then all of a sudden, and I started slowing down, as a matter of fact, and I couldn't figure that out either. But I started slowing down, and I went into that light, and that light hit me like a ton of bricks. That light is everything.
Oh, I just lost your audio. I can't hear you. Alan, I can't hear you. Alan, we can't hear you. There's no sound. We can't hear you. That is so weird. Okay, so we might just go to our music break early since we can't hear you. And that'll give you time to work out whatever issues you're having with the sound. I don't know what else to do. Um, so on this break, imagine yourself on a white sandy beach, and you might be drinking a some sort of cocktail, Bahama Mama, Sex on the Beach, something like that. And you're listening to these fellas. So we have King Cinnamon from Biafra, Nigeria, with Fantastic and Ala Imo Edarella. And then we have Mr. Hosni Bronx, who is not only from Jamaica, but he also hails from the Bronx of New York. And he actually has members of Bob Marley's band, which I love Bob Marley. I feel like truly he was one of our prophets. You guys, listen to this, and we'll be back in about T minus 15 minutes and counting. We swap on Welcome back, and thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight to We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. Is it raining? It sounds like it's raining. Can you hear me, Alan?
Yes, I can hear you.
Welcome back. Thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight. Right? They're like, shh. Yeah, go ahead and try again. I'm sorry that there was confusion. I don't know if you could hear the music or not, but we were on music break, but we're back.
Okay, well, I think I left off where I was going into the light. And like I said, that light has all the emotions and everything. Feels pretty through you. And I kept moving slowly. And I saw up ahead a gentleman that had long hair, a beard, and a robe. He was dressed in sandals. And if he said himself, like Jesus Christ. And the reason why I say I believe in Jesus Christ. I don't know what, like, a Hindu.
Well, they say that the way that we see Jesus, the way that we have him in paintings is incorrect. He's actually has darker skin and different features than what we're used to.
Anyway, he was presenting himself to me as the one raised to believe what God looks like, what Jesus looks like. Anyway, just before I got to him, because I had a lot of questions I wanted to ask him, I blacked out. Am I still on?
Yes, you are. I was just checking my sound really quick. I'm sorry.
Anyway, I blacked out, and I didn't get to him as far as I knew. Anyway, when I woke up again, I was like in this field. I like to call it a meadow.
Mm-hmm.
And there was it was tall grass, and there was flowers in it, and there's also insects in it. I could hear water behind me. It sounded like a stream or a brook or something. And
I'm telling you, I hear water right now. It's weird.
I could hear birds off in the distance in the forest. There was a forest on the other side of the stream. And there was a path that ran between the field and the forest. Anyway, I went to stand up, and when I stood up, I was in a circle of people. And I realized that circle of people was my relatives and close friends that had passed through. But who I paid attention to was my grandfather. He was sitting directly in front of me. And he started speaking to me telepathically. He told me how much he loved me and all this stuff. And I could tell him, I could speak to him telepathically. He felt like I could talk if I wanted to use my mouth.
You're all good.
Last thing I remember on it, my grandfather and I was walking side by side along that path that separated the forest from the field. And then that's it, and that's when I woke up in the morning. And I woke up at the same time that I usually woke up in the morning, but when I looked. But this time it was different. like I was growing. I felt like I just stood before God. And I had that feeling, I carried that feeling for a couple of weeks from it. And but as time went on, I realized I was getting little bits and pieces of information that I got when I was on this astral projection. And all kinds of information. I remember seeing the 9 levels of heaven,
Mm-hmm.
the 5 levels of hell.
Oh, wow.
They have no time then, so they don't die. They just told me a whole bunch of things. Anyway, the place where my grandfather was at, I called a that was called Paradise as far as I was concerned. Because where he was at, there was no death, no sickness, and it was perfect. But it was just like it. And anyway, that's why I called it Paradise, because that's the lowest level of heaven. And that's where my grandfather was at. And I think that's where most people go when they leave the planet, and they're good people.
Yes, kind of like you go up levels. So you start off on one level and then you just keep going up if you do. If not, it's okay. But
To move up our level, you have to learn the laws and ordinances of the universe. And as you move up, the top level, of course, is the same level that God's on. And so it's very realistic. I know people are going to say I'm fascinating and all those, but if you got yourself up to the top level, you could become like God. And I believe there's a passage in the Bible. We are sons and daughters of God, and He would want us to go and be like Him. And so it's not unrealistic that can happen. But anyway, what else did I learn that I can tell you? Yeah, no time to. Yeah, I found out I could have been there as long as 20 years.
yeah, so you were supposed to die earlier, and you're supposed to be there already, but you cheated death, and you're still here.
Yeah, I was laying on my bed for 8 hours. But I was in a spirit world for I could have been there 20 years. And
wow. Time is so weird in the spirit world. It's not like here. It's just like kind of like dog years is what I like to compare it to. Like it is so different than here. Time is not the same.
Yeah, they don't have time then. They don't have any time.
But they don't care for it. What the crack is that?
The longer you're there, too, the more you have. You don't care about time. When you first cross over, it's like something I call where you have to get acclimated to the spirit world.
I like to call it surprise. You're dead.
That's it. First you eat hamburgers and stuff, and then this guy's on the heart attack.
Hey, you're speaking my language right now. You're talking about hamburgers. I would put a really big one in my mouth right now.
I couldn't all of a sudden zap you. Your ancestors, they help you calm, and they help you acclimate to.
Do you believe in that? Like, I've heard different people saying things. Okay, so right before my mother-in-law passed, she kept seeing this little girl with pigtails holding like a teddy bear or something, and she was at her doorway, but she kept getting closer and closer. I'm like, who the crap is that? I don't know if she ever had a miscarriage or anything like that, but I've heard different stories about nursing homes and hospitals. Like, these are like feeding grounds for certain entities and things. And but when Vern's dad was about to pass, he said one of his band members, so he felt really guilty that he didn't go to World War II because he would play for the Officers Club. So he'd be playing his guitar, singing, whatever, doing what he does. He didn't go over there, but that really injured his spirit as far as, like, his friends went there. His friends died. Different things happened to them. But when he was about to pass, they came for him, and he's like, hey, there's going to be a party in the Officers Club tonight, and you guys should come and listen. And we're like, what? And he's like, yeah, oh, so-and-so is over there in the corner waiting for him. He's like, come on, we got basically a gig in the sky. That to me was amazing.
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of people, just before they die, they see spirits in their room, and they know them. They could be wives that pass out with silver, first. It could be their parents, even their father or mother. I've had that happen lots of times when I had a lady and her husband. They were close friends, my late wife. But anyway, their last name was mine. And anyway, we were looking at him. He had brain cancer. And I could do a lot of things with my healing abilities, but I couldn't overcome that brain cancer. And I just feel that some people, when they get stuff like that, that's their time to go, It's their time to go, and it's for a reason. But anyway, just before he died,
Can I just say really quick, like, it sounds like it's raining where you're at, and that's what I keep hearing. Like, it cleared up for a second, and now it's back. So I don't know what that is. It could be spiritually put out there, or I don't know if your wife is trying to help the sound or what. Like, if she is helping. What she did a few minutes ago did help, but now it's back. But I just have to let you know, it sounds like where you're at, there's a total downpour, and I'm down with that because it's very relaxing, but it's weird. Oh, do you have a fan or anything going? That's what Robert said.
What's that?
Do you have a fan or an AC or anything like that going? Maybe a heater? Yeah, it sounds like rain, which I'm like, it's totally relaxing, but at the same time, like, it's kind of overtaking your voice and taking away from any stories you're trying to tell.
Yeah, I turned off the fan and it's still doing it. So. And I don't have anything here.
Okay, well, it's all good. Like, when you were talking, like, it did stop for a second, and then it came back, so, I don't know, it could be the spirit realm. I'm not sure.
Maybe I could go out and then come back in again. Would that help?
Yeah, we could try that. But like I said, like, it was there, then it was gone, then it came back. But yeah, it's very relaxing to me, like, I could fall asleep any second, but I don't want to.
We don't want that.
Hi. Hello, it's me, TessaTNT. How you doing? I have to say today is the day I gave birth to my first child. I'm so proud of her. She's so strong and gorgeous and beautiful, and she has an angel's voice. She's looking for a voice coach. She has the most beautiful voice ever, but she's looking for a voice coach. Here we go. Hi, Alan.
Are you still here?
Kinda, but it's not as loud.
That's good. That's good. I don't
I'm
know
sorry.
what else I could. I really don't know what else I could do to it.
Yeah, me neither, but it's good. Like, it's not as loud as it was before. Before, it just sounded like it was a major downpour, and I can kind of hear you, but not a lot, but it sounds good right now. Okay, so please continue the story. I'm sorry. If you can remember where you were in heaven.
Well, like I said, I could have been there years and years. I just didn't know. I wondered why I kept getting bits and pieces of the information, years after I went there. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, I figured they if they let me had all the information at once, it probably blow my mind. I wouldn't have been able to comprehend it and understand what was going on. So if it being there a little bit at a time, I was able to, grasp what it was and stuff better. But there was all kinds of things. I went to hell too. Uh,
You
I was
did?
there.
I almost did.
Yeah.
When I was a kid.
You did?
It scared the shit out of me. Okay, Colin. So, I've always had insomnia. I still do, and my husband hates it. I try to go to sleep, but no matter how hard I try, I can't do it. But when I was a kid, my mother, she went to Mesa Verde. She saw her death. She knew she was going to die. And she wrote her father before she got home, and she said, sorry, there's some sort of feedback. He said, Dad, I'm going to die. This is going to happen. I'm going to wear this dress. I want this and this and that and that. Like, she's planning her own funeral. So here I am after my mom died. My dad was really big into drinking, also got into the coke world. It was the 80s. That's what a lot of people were doing. And he just felt like he couldn't take care of us anymore. And so he sent us to live with our grandparents. I got to stay in my mom's room. Guess what happened to her in there? I soon found out. So I'm laying there one night, under my covers, laying there, staring at the ceiling, looking around, like, all of a sudden I hear drums beating, I hear chanting, I see a light coming from the chicken yard in through my window, and shadows moving. What the frack is that? So I creeped down on my bed, peeked out the window like this, and I saw what looks like gremlins, not the Mogwai, but gremlins, like lizard-skinned guys, giant pug nose. Their ears were not as pronounced. I'm sorry, I can hear myself through your phone or something. If you can mute for a second, that'd be cool. Maybe that'll help. I don't know. But I saw these little gremlin things, and I'm like, what the fuck? And as soon as I saw them, they turned around. Everything stopped. The drum beating, the chanting, everything stopped. And they looked my way. I'm like, holy shit. I threw myself back in the bed. And these things came running towards my window. You can hear the scratching, the clawing. They're clawing up inside of the house. Alan, can you mute for a minute? Because I can hear myself. Or I could maybe mute you, but if you could mute, that'd be cool because I can hear myself talking. I don't hear it right now, but I did before. Anywho's, these things were scratching and crawling up the wall, and then you could see the shadows of them, like, peeking in. So there's a fire behind them. You could see their ears, everything. Like I said, it was like gremlins, but the ears were a bit shorter. And they're, like, looking, they're, like, chattering back and forth to each other. You know what I did? As soon as they looked my way, threw myself back in bed, pulled the covers up like this. Like we do as kids, like our covers are our armor. This is what we do to protect ourselves. And I did that, and I held my breath. I didn't even breathe. And then all of a sudden they go, scurry, scurry, scurry. You can hear them. Oh, I hate to say it. You can hear them sliding down the side of my house, my grandparents' house. They went to my brother's room. So, a night later, I'm laying there, and I didn't have a door. I had curtains, yellow curtains, and they were tied back. That was the same night, sorry, going back. That was the same night I had that dream. Like, I had the dream that my bed was tilting up like this. So it's tilting up like this. I'm up here and I'm like, sliding down. The only thing I could do from sliding into the hole in the floor, where the fuck did that come from, was to go like this underneath my mattress. So the mattress is about this big, and to go like this under the footboard to keep from falling in it. And it's like fire, brimstone, like this sulfuric smell. And I woke up, and guess where I was? I was at the very end of my bed. This has never happened to me. And I'm laying there, and I'm thinking, because I've had dreams, repeated dreams of my past life, I believe. I was building a skyscraper, and I fell to my death. This dream was more fucked up. I was just like, what the heck just happened? And I'm sitting there at the end of the bed, I'm like, this is the craziest dream I've ever had. I'm so glad I didn't fall in that hole. What the heck? And all of a sudden, instead of smelling sulfur, fire, and brimstone, whatever the crap you want to call it, I smell cherry tobacco. That's weird because my grandparents smoke velvet tobacco. I even have a can right here. I took a can from my grandparents' house. And rocks too, which I don't know how good of an idea that was, but they smoked velvet tobacco. Yes, it was sweet smelling, but not like that. This smoke that I smelled at that point was cherry smoke. And I was like, that's weird. And I looked over to my doorway and I'm like, do you know what I saw, Alan? I saw the most beautiful man I've ever laid eyes upon. Yes, I had a crush on a dead man, Elvis, but this man was the most gorgeous man. I'm getting goosebumps again. The most gorgeous man I'd ever laid eyes upon. And I'm just like, what the crack? And my dad used to tell me when I had nightmares, which one of them that was repetitive, I think, was my past life. Falling from a skyscraper. You know, the people look like ants, the cars look really tiny, and then all of a sudden, there's this sidewalk split in front of your face. I just said in my head, God stands before me, Satan fall behind. And guess what, Alan? I didn't have to talk to him. I didn't have to deal with him at all. Like, that was out like a light. That to me was amazing. Because come to find out, years later, when our family came back together, my mother had the same experience. But guess what? That guy was right next to her bed. And I've told my children this story because I want them to know how to protect themselves. And I want them to know they don't have to fucking talk to that guy. I think what I went through was Satan looking for a bride. I don't freaking know. I know he's got tons, but I think he's kind of interested in our family. But at the same time, I don't know, it just blows me away. And when we did that family reunion and we're telling our ghost stories, and I told that one, I swear to God, my dad turned white as a sheet, and he's like, oh my God, I can't believe this. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, your mom had the very same experience in the very same room. But guess what? He was right next to her bed. So I kind of find comfort in he was next to her bed, he was in my doorway, and for my kids, he'll be further away. And hopefully they'll know how to deal with it, right? Don't forget to unmute. But yeah, that to me was intense. But that was amazing. Like, as far as all the paranormal experiences I've had and the alien encounters and stuff, that one blew me away. So maybe I can unmute you. There you are. So is that anything like you said? Like, some woman said the same thing. She's like, oh, that happened to my cousin, and they're called kobolds. And then when I looked up kobolds on the internet, they look like little gnome people. They weren't the same. The closest thing that I saw was Kentucky goblins.
I think different people have different experiences. With me, it was just like when I went to bed one night, laid my head down on the pillow, and boom, I was in hell. Didn't have the experience of going through, the roof or anything like that. That's just too much.
See, bam, you were there. Was it like people crying and screaming, and what was hell to you?
Well, the part of hell I was in, it was where heaven had all the good emotions, this one had all the bad ones, hate and pain and
Everybody's just like,
and they went straight through the opposite, just like the good emotions did. And I was on this path. It was like a dirt path.
mm-hmm.
And I don't know why, but I was walking along this path. And I kind of looked behind me because I felt there was something behind me. And there was, these were shadow. There were 4 shadow people behind me. And they were dancing back and forth around behind me. And so that made me kind of fearful.
We got him! Here he comes! Let's go! What?
It kind of scared me a little bit because I didn't know what was going to go on. So I kept walking. They didn't make any moves for me. And we came up on these buildings. And these buildings had windows in them. But there was no lights in them. They were all dark.
I just have to say right now, your sound is perfect. Whatever was happening before was bad, but...
Yeah. But anyway, this one guy called in on the show I was on. He says, could those buildings be prison? I thought, well, yeah, I guess so, because I even think the Bible refers to hell as a prison, type thing. And what happened to the noise? Can you hear me?
I just muted myself, and I think that's the problem.
Yeah. Anyway, I realized then that I kept walking along, and it was hot, really hot. And these emotions, they're almost too much to bear, And I came up, there was a spirit that was hanging around one of the corners of the building, and he motioned for me to come over. And so I went over to the edge of the path, and I said, what do you want? And he motioned for me to come closer. And I said, no. I said, I'm not coming any closer. You tell me what you want, or you're not going to see me. And so anyway, he come to find out I had experienced this with him when he was alive. I used to go over to his house. His wife had like migraine headaches, and she would want me to give her a blessing. And when I did, the headaches would go away for a couple of days or so. But she called me up sometimes twice a week, and her husband would answer the door, and he wouldn't even say hi to me. I think he thought I was a fraud or something, So uh, he would go off into the kitchen or someplace when I
He's
was
like,
there.
come on in.
Yeah, really. But now, all of a sudden, I'm down there where he's at, and he's fearful. You want to know if I could help him? I said, no, I can't help you. You got yourself in this place, and you got to get yourself out. And come to find out, he had killed somebody, and he was fearful that the guy had died, and he's down there now too. I thought that would only serve him right. Yeah, I had to laugh at that. But I told him he wanted me to take him out of there, and I said I can't do it. And he wanted then for me to relieve some of the pain and this uh, uh, bad stuff that he was going through right now. And I said I can't do that either. I said you got yourself here, and you're gonna have to remove yourself from this place. And then just like that, zap, I was back in my bed. I carried those feelings with me for about 2 weeks. And you can ask my wife. I was angered quite easily. I was moody. I snapped at my wife at times. Um, I took on the emotions of that place a lot.
I feel
And
you, brother. Like,
I had,
I go through that stuff too. Like, I have walk-ins, I have possessions. It's just like, what, what have I gotten myself
I had
into?
I gave myself about. I think I cleansed myself about 3 times to that place before I could actually say, okay, now I feel better, type thing. It was pretty bad. Um, I think God was with me on that trip though, because it could have got a lot worse with those shadow shadow guys behind me. My wife and I lived in a haunted house for about 3 years. We had
You know what?
shadow people.
Sorry, my sound is bad, but I live in a haunted house currently. And my kids are like, they're telling me there's a guy working on the thermostat. We quit using our natural gas years ago. And John's like, what's wrong with this thing? He's used to the thermostat working, and we don't use it anymore. We use the wood stove.
Really? We're almost off the grid, not quite. We got solar and we got. But anyway, when we lived in this haunted house, this was down in Phoenix, and it was a small house. It was about 80 years old. It was in my neighborhood that I used to live in when I was a kid. So I didn't think anything of it, when it came up for sale. I kind of liked being in my old neighborhood again. So we bought it, and come to find out there was shadow people there. There was I kept waking up to, there was like this, I called her a banshee. She looked like a witch. And she
Might have been a succubus.
she would come up to me and screech right in my ear. And she would wake me out of a sound sleep, man. I could wake up and I'm ready to fight, if somebody was in the room. But she had a long, pointy nose and a long face, all wrinkly and everything. She had spindly fingers and arms, and same way with the legs. And I called her a banshee, is what I did. I put that in one of my books too about her.
That's bad.
Yeah. But the weird thing is, I came home one day from work, and there was about hundreds of flies flying around the kitchen window and the dining room. And when you see that, that's evil. That's plain evil. there's an evil entity in that house, you know, and I didn't know basically what to do then. It caught me by surprise.
Well, generally they say when there's flies or other things flying around, flies are basically a sign of possession.
Anyway, I didn't want to kill them with poison or anything. I thought it would be a good idea to kill them. Always thought, can you kill them? Because I thought they were from a different realm too. But anyway, but I didn't want to because we had dogs. So what I did was I started using a fly swatter. I just shot and killed them. And I did this for, I guess about over a week, about 10 days or something like that. I come home and kill these flies every day. And I'd sweep them up with, and sweep them up in, the boxes or whatever and put them in the garbage, you know.
I was saying the fact that you actually cleaned up after yourself, that's amazing. Good on you.
But anyway, you know, I was told when I was with my grandfather, I was told that every living thing on earth has a spirit.
Mm-hmm.
These flies had a spirit. So when I killed them, I did not kill their spirit. And my wife and I would sit there and be watching our big screen TV at night. And all of a sudden we'd see these flies flying up around, you know, the light of the TV. So out comes the fly swatter. I'm getting ready to kill them, you know. And they're the spirits, fly spirits. And these flies were the big old fat ugly things, you know, bloated
Fly
flies.
spirits.
They're what you see around dead stuff. And that's what their spirits were. They were really, really slow moving.
I have to say, I'm sorry, but these flies are big, really big, bigger than you're accustomed to. These things are hardcore.
They were about the size of a horsefly, but they were fat. And they were ugly. But anyway, you know, the only way, we had shadow people that was down our hallway. And at night, what they do would be bounce from one wall to the other, back and forth in our hallway. They never came into our room, as far as I know, and they never did us any harm. But it was just kind of weird, them being bounced back and forth in the hallway like that. We found out that the house stood empty for a long time, and homeless people was in there, and they did drugs, and they did some devil worshiping in there and stuff. They had a pentagram on the floor we found, and just stuff like that. So anyway, I had a friend of mine come over, and him and I blessed the house. We went through every room, blessed the house, and we got rid of everything but the shadow people. The shadow people, we could not get them to leave. But that, like I said, that was all right. They didn't really bother us that much. But we did get rid of the banshee. We got rid of the evil flies, and we got rid of the other things that was in the house too that kind of went bump in the night. Yeah, that was kind of an experience living in that house. You know, when you first move into a haunted house, it doesn't take over very much. It doesn't.
I have to say, like, when that happens, it's quiet.
Yeah. But the longer you live there, the more they think they can get away with it, I guess, or something. And when you've been there a year or so, boy, they're really active in the house. But yeah, yeah, I've had all kinds of experiences, paranormal stuff.
Man, I'm thinking I need to look at my settings as far as this whole video thing goes. Right now, it sounds really good, and I don't hear anything, but it's been like in my ears when I talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we pulled up to this place, I'm like, this is my home. Like, this is where I'm supposed to live. And my husband was like, really? You know, because we just came from an A-frame up in Twin Lakes, and that got foreclosed upon, but felt like this was my home. The only first inkling I had that this place was haunted, not only like you said, the shadow bastards. I was leaving one day and I heard a guy coughing, and it scared the shit out of me. And I was just like, "What the fuck is that?" And I was just grateful, like, "Hey, I'm leaving for work. I'm gonna go bar tempting, and everything's gonna be okay." Come to find out, I called this spirit John. Yes, his name was John. And he had actually died from emphysema in my house.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of that.
Yeah, to me, like, that's crazy. And then the kids, like, there's been different shit come in because, like, we're all gifted. It's like a lighthouse. Everybody's gonna come. Everybody's gonna see. How can you help me? But John, not really. John's just like, why is this thermostat not working? Because we're using a wood stove, you know? That to me was fucking crazy, but yeah, the kids were like, last time they saw him, he was standing there at the thermostat, he's like, messing with it and trying to figure out what the crap was wrong with it.
You know, we lived in this apartment up in Utah. And we knew that an old man that lived in the apartment had died. And we had fun things like the TV would click on in the middle of the night, or it would shut itself off, or the lights. You know, he liked to play with the lights. I don't think he wanted us to leave any lights on. You know, he'd turn the lights off on us.
Yeah.
And but one night we have a habit of eating in the bedroom, you know, while we're watching TV, you know. And so I had some dishes.
Hey, don't do that. That attracts mice.
Anyway, I was carrying the dishes out to the kitchen, and I thought the kitchen light was on. And I thought, oh no, wait a minute, the kitchen light wasn't on. So I was wondering how I was going to reach the light switch to turn it on. Just as I reached for the light switch, the switch came on by itself. Now, even though I've been around paranormal for quite a long time, that kind of freaked me out because it did it right in front of my face by, 3 inches, 4 inches. And that was really freaky because I was just about ready to turn that light on, but somebody turned it on for me. I go, thank you. I put the dishes down, went back in the bedroom.
Thank you for your help and your courtesy.
But yeah, he used to keep us sometimes in the light and sometimes in the dark. He liked to play with the electrical stuff. It's funny too because when he died, he left a lot of things like bowls of stuff, and he was into electronics. And so
dude, that's what I'm saying about John. Okay, so John, he died here. He had emphysema. He smoked a lot. Sometimes I feel like that spirit is taking over me. I smoke a lot of cigars, but I also smoke a vape. I'm sorry, I don't know if you hear that feedback. I do. It's terrible. Anyways, John working on, like, this thing on the wall. The kids are like, Mom, I saw John. And he's like, he's trying to work on this thing where you turn the thermostat up and down. They saw him doing that. I'm like, I'm sorry, we ain't using that no more.
I I had a '55 Chevy one time, and it was haunted. I uh, I got
Really?
it. It came up from Mexico.
You really had a
And
haunted Chevy.
I think actually somebody was killed in it or something because I got it. And the
Somebody
minute,
could have been killed, or somebody could have committed suicide.
yeah. Anyway, I put new seats in it and stuff like that. Tried to fix it up, but
Oui.
one night I had a date. I was gonna pick her up my '55 Chevy. So I started turning on the lights. It was nighttime. I was going down to her apartment, and just as I turned on her street, the lights on this thing shut off, and
No!
I couldn't get them to come back on. So I turned around and went back to my house. And the minute I got back to my street, uh, the lights came back on. So I
So I
didn't
think that's a
mute it.
sign. You should have been with her. You should have been with your present wife.
Well, that's it, I guess. But anyway, I turned around, went back down, and the minute I hit her street again, it went off again. So I went back home,
What?
and it turned on again when I hit my street. This time I parked in front of the house, and I went around and I kicked that car so hard. I was kicking the fenders. I was so mad. I was cussing and swearing. Damn car. I finally got rid of it because it was just too unreal to drive almost. Whoever had the car before me still had it in spirit. It was pretty bad. um,
Sorry, I was just trying to say hello to beautiful Willow. I hate to hear my echo voice in my ear bowls, but I'm so grateful you're here, and the stories you're telling to me are fucking amazing. I'm so excited. Like, I've started your book, I haven't completed it, I must admit, but you only have so much time for so many things, but
yeah.
it's amazing what you've done. I'm so grateful that you wrote 9 freaking books.
I was going to ask you if you got my book. I said.
You did. That was weird because it was like, here's a key. And I'm like, and all of a sudden, I'm like, yeah, I got your book.
I feel
But I'm super excited to read it because I want to know your experiences, and like, I love sharing my ghost stories. I want to learn your ghost stories, and yeah, I'm totally intrigued. I'm super excited.
I want to tell you a story too. As you know, I'm an author, and I was writing in my one book. I was writing about the time I went to hell, and I was talking about meeting this guy who wanted me to take him out of hell and everything.
Dude,
And
how can you do that? Yes, I'm here in hell, but how the fuck do I take you out? Or how to correct, I should say.
I got a possession from that, writing that chapter.
What?
I didn't know what was going on at first, but that's the only thing I can think of. I saged myself, I cleansed myself, and I finally got rid of it, but it was pretty mean and nasty too. Um, I didn't think just by writing that stuff you could pick up things that you're not supposed to have, like spirits and stuff. I didn't know you could do that just by being an author writing about that stuff. Makes me kind of wonder about Stephen King and the rest of them. They get kind of weird, like pet
Well,
pet
like,
spirits.
most of Stephen King's novels he wrote, Ryan Pope.
Wow, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
That's a trip. It's just like, what? You did what? While you wrote this? Yep. I get it.
I it took me a while to get rid of that one too, but I did it. I think if it's paranormal, I have had some kind of experience with it. The only thing I've never done is go on an investigation. I've never went into a place and tried to, like, what's his name? The one Ghost Adventures where they go in and
are you talking about Dildo Baggins?
yeah, he goes in and kind of torments them as far as I'm concerned. And
Seriously.
the way I see it, they're spirits. They once had bodies like we did, and they're in their place. That chances are they're going to be there for the rest of eternity. We don't, or at least until the end of the world, because they're on their earthly plane. That's all they're going to get. So I've never done it, and I have no desire to do it. I'm happy doing what I do, and that's all. I guess I'd be better known if I had went out and did a lot of investigations and stuff, but
I'm telling
that's
you,
not my thing.
you could be like, oh,
You know,
Dildo
that's not my
Baggins?
thing.
So
I'd
it's
rather
looking
stay home
nice.
and write books.
You would like, hey, Dildo Baggins, so nice to meet you. We go over here and investigate this. I don't think it would have been a good thing, and I appreciate you and I respect you for what you're doing.
Yeah. Like I said, they were people like a lot of them are not very good. Reason why
I'll tell you, my friend, we are on our next music break. So I have to let you know, I have to, yeah. Sorry, I had to unmute myself. I thought I was unmuted, but I wasn't. Anyways, on this break, we have Wesley Bronx from the Bronx of New York. Guess what? This guy actually originated from Jamaica. So Wesley Bronx is going to be singing Less is a Lion and Free Child, and then we have King Cinnamon with a different song. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back, thank you so much for joining us this evening on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. We have Mr. Alan Wright on the show right now. Alan, let's continue with what we were talking about. I'm going to mute myself because holy shnikes.
Okay, well, what are we talking about? Are there any questions or anything you want to ask me, or anybody out there watching, would they'd like to ask me a question? Or
Robert's saying that sounds really crunchy and law of attraction, you get it. So anybody else, do you guys have any questions? Do you want a reading? That would be amazing. Firstly, Alan, I was wondering if you could read me. And that sounds selfish because I am the show host, but can you do a reading on me? Like, I feel like my dad's birthday was on the 7th. I feel like my dad's around me. I don't know what you feel, but...
because I do feel him. I feel your dad. When I take a break and I don't talk, I'm trying to communicate with the spirit. A lot of times, rather than talking, a lot of times I get messages just from feelings that they give me and stuff like that. And he's telling me that he's telling me he enjoys his grandkids.
Yes, I was about to say, don't be shy on what you say, because my dad, he said I had a sillish mouth. He also does, but yeah, don't feel the
Yeah, he's a little bit on the rough side, isn't he? Just tiny
yeah.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to say some of the things, but yeah, he says he likes his grandkids. He loves them a lot. He thinks maybe that at times they could be a little bit too wild.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where he gets that at, but anyway, he's gonna come to you now. He says he loves you too. And he he's glad that you picked the man you did to marry, the one you're married to now. Were you married before? Okay.
No.
That's the reason why you put it that way. No? Yeah, okay. Sometimes you don't want a reading because they just tell it like it is. I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's just like, shut your freaking mouth. Don't say that, but seriously. No, I do want to know.
This guy for a long time. He's also saying that he's going to be waiting for you when you pass over. And he is around you all the time. He's around you constantly. He says he tries to get close to you as often as he can. He's also telling me that he's sorry that he wasn't exactly the best dad in the world.
I told him that I forgave him.
Yeah, he's still carrying that with him. He's trying to make it up in the spirit world by being around you all the time and letting you know that he does love you. He said that he had different priorities back then, and he shouldn't have. He said that the family should have been his priority. But he said he loves you and the kids, and your husband's great. He loves him. It's that bro love. You know, he's not gay or anything. That's a bro love. He tried. He had to correct me on that. He's funny.
I have to tell you, my dad was so smart, but he was super funny. He had the most enormous sense of humor in the world.
Yeah. I'm going to bring him over by you. See if you feel him. He's right on your left-hand side right now. And he's hugging you. He's got his arm around your neck. You ought to be able to feel that. That's almost like a bear hug.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's giving you a good hug there.
That's freaking amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm saying some other things, but I think we'll let it go at that. No, he says you're.
Can you tell me what he says? Because I know there's shit going on. Can you tell me exactly what he says?
Yeah. He said you're a good woman. You try to put on a like a front, like you're rougher than what you are, but you're totally a good woman, and that he's it's one reason why he's around you. He said if you weren't a good woman, he wouldn't be around you. So, yeah, he says you're great. He said you don't have any problems or anything. And he's going to be with you once you pass over. The whole family's going to be there, you know, whatever ones has passed already. It's going to be a big party there. You got a lot of people on the other side there, Tessa. A lot of people. I see about at least 100, 150.
There's gonna be a party, I have to tell you. Like, this is insane.
Yeah. They're standing in the background, but I see aunts, uncles, cousins. I see a bunch of them. They're back there. I think I see a cousin that might have died from being shot.
Okay, so sorry, I'm trying to fix my sound issue. So last time I spent with my cousin, we were shooting TVs, we were shooting all kinds of stuff, and he ended up dying from brain cancer, which was freaking hardcore. Like, what the crack? And then when I go back to the Pine Valley Cemetery, it's back where nobody can even find it. But we know the thing. 420, 520, blah, blah, blah. We find it right there. I believe it's my cousin with me saying, like, everything's gonna be okay. He's the last person on this side that I knew before he went to that side. I don't know. I just feel like everything's going to be okay, even though it's right now, as we're looking at it, chronologically insane. World War III, whatever the crack is going on, like, this stuff is intense.
You know, during COVID, the spirits was really restless during COVID. They were very active, and it was because so many people were dying from that disease, and they were crossing over, and the spirit world was pretty well messed up at that time. But they're getting back down to normal now. They're pretty much. But they got to get ready again here pretty soon because it's going to be happening again.
I have to tell you, Alan, I'm sorry, the sound is all messed up. Let me see if I... So, my husband was a victim of COVID-19, and he was feeling really sick. And then, right before he went in, I'm just like, I was feeling really sick too. And I was kind of in my little bubble, and I didn't know that was the last time I was going to see him, but it was. And he's like, "Hey, guess what? They're saying they're gonna put this shit in my throat and blah blah blah, and I'm still going to talk to you." I'm like, "Okay." Come to find out, he was put in a coma. He couldn't talk to me, and so I had to live my life the way I had to. And he went through so many different traumas, and one of the ones that I have to tell you about is him talking about Betty White. What's right was Betty Wright. And so he sees this boat, he sees his nephew there. He sees him getting shot. Like, there's so many different things. Also, I was there with our dog Hercules. Hercules is there. He's trying to fix his dad. And so we're walking around doing this, and Vern told me about how I was building buttholes. So I'm doing plastic surgery, and this guy got a motorcycle wreck, and I rebuilt his butthole, and I was so proud of it. That's what happened. Like, he fucking lost his butthole, so that was really weird. But to me, I think it's a thing as far as this guy is there. He's trying to come back to life. He's going through all these traumas, all this other shit, and they're like, "Hey, guess what? You can get a younger body. You could do this. You could do that." He didn't go for it. He's like, "Nope, not gonna do it." And he made the right decision because guess what? These other people that didn't come back, he did.
He was meant to come back and he was meant to be with you. Um, you're going to be together now until you're going to be going through some shit here, you know, but you're going to make it together. There's there's not going to be any separations. You're not going to do this and he's going to do that.
Are you sure? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we're stuck. You know, like turn to a blanket or whatever. Like, we're stuck together.
Yeah. Your dad knows that too. That's why he's telling you that you married a good guy. Yeah,
I did. God forbid it. But
yeah, he thinks you did pretty well in that category there. What did your dad do in life here? Was he like a cowboy?
what? He was a videographer. He actually did city council meetings, he did weddings, he did stuff like that.
Really? He gave me an impression he would be a rancher or something.
Okay, so in his early years, before his dad passed, like, that's what happened. But otherwise, no. He left, like, I think one of his last things on the ranch was there was a stream. I think it was mountain lion or Black Panther, something like that. Otherwise, no. My dad was a videographer, and I ended up doing that from the age of 13 till today. So, yeah, that's what my dad did. He actually shot his pants in Miami. We actually had to bring him pants. We're like, here you go, Dad. And never trust a fart. You should never trust a fart. He's like, oh, thank God you guys bring me pants. But yeah, he actually shot his pants. That's one of the last things I remember.
He kind of presents himself as a cowboy now. I mean, I don't know why. Maybe that's the funny one.
Hey, that reminds me of that one song. I could have been a cowboy. I could have learned to rope and ride, but guess what? He didn't.
Well, on the other side, you can do whatever you want. So I guess he's trying to say different things out, I guess. But anyway, yeah, so I hope you're happy now. Don't worry about your dad. He's in a really good place.
Maybe it's weird because, like, I'm sorry, I keep hearing echoes, but I saw him in the dream realm. And that's where my sister, Chrissy, was. Chrissy was murdered by her husband. My dad actually killed himself. Like, he's like, okay, guess what? I ain't gonna take any of this medicine. I want them to know how bad off I am. And I'm like, Dad, that is not a good idea. So instead of having liver failure, guess what? This effort had kidney failure. That was the most painful thing he could have gone through. And Chrissy, like I said, she was about to leave her husband. We've been pushing for that for so long, and she told him, I am not your possession. I am not your property. I'm going to do my own thing. Guess what he did? Not only did he murder her, but he took advantage of her dead body. And that's not cool. Well, guess what? Silvino, their son, saw it. And I was supposed to be godmother to them. Unfortunately, my husband didn't allow that. I was like, hey, I gotta go get milk for the kids because they need cereal today. By the time I got back, I was no longer godmother. They just moved on. And I'm kind of grateful because I believe that would have been kind of too much, but I don't know. I worry about these kids. I wonder how they're doing. And I know they're being raised by the family and the Hispanic, whatever's going on, but he choked her to death and then he raped her dead body. What? Fuck. The only thing that I can say kudos to you is he didn't run away. He didn't run to Mexico, Durango, Mexico, or anywhere. He sat on the front porch, he called 911, and he said, I just killed my wife. So that's the only respect that I can have for him, is that he did that instead of running away, because we could be looking for him in Mexico right now. But we're not. That was right after her birthday, and I just feel so bad. Do you feel anything coming from her? Like, is she upset that I am supposed to be godmother to these kids, and I'm not because of what my husband said? Is she okay with that? Is she okay with where they're at? That's what I wonder. Like,
Right beside me. What she's
sorry.
telling me is things are the way that they're supposed to be, and that things will work out all right in the end. She's not mad because you weren't able to be the godparents or take responsibility for the kids. She's not angry about that. But she says, don't worry about it. Don't let it trouble you because things are going the way that they're supposed to be going. So,
Mm-hmm.
her husband's going to get his in the end. I can tell you that. That's an easy reading there.
Yeah, he's in prison. He tried to fight it. He tried to say, oh, I have psychological issues. Guess what? You do, but not enough for the government to care. So, what the fuck up? Think your doings, basically.
Your sister's with your dad, so they're in the, like with my grandfather, they're in paradise right now. So
Good.
don't worry about them. And she said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Put it behind you.
Thank you for saying that because I was so worried. Like, I'm supposed to be their godmother. I'm supposed to take them into my home. Not only do I lose custody of them, but they're like, hey, can we use these? Sorry, I hear the echo. But can we use these photographs, these photo albums, blah blah blah, to do her memorial? I'm like, yeah, for sure, no worries. Guess what? I didn't even get those back. That was bad. But, I'm so grateful that you said she has no hard feelings and these things are happening the way they should.
Yeah, she doesn't have any ill feelings for you, and told me to tell you not to worry about it anymore.
That's good. Also, I have to tell you, our dad was the drummer for our band. And guess what? He was walking down the stairs one day, and all of a sudden, he broke his fucking ankle. And guess what? The hospital didn't put any bleeding on it or anything like that. They allowed him to go. And he ended up dying. You break your ankle and you die. What? That was sad. And I was there for her with that, but what happened after that with her? Like, what the fuck? And she even told me, like, the week before she got murdered, she's like, let's go. We need to go. We need to sign this paperwork. I wish I would have done it. But I felt like we had more time. But I think she understands. And I don't know, I think everything's working out for the greater good. I'm not quite sure. But do you feel that? Do you feel like everything's okay?
Let's be going.
Huh?
No worries.
I say that all the time. No worries. I always say no worries. So that's amazing that you said that.
I got a little story for you.
Let's go.
I gave this lady a reading one time, and it was in a restaurant. She met my wife and I there to talk about our insurance. And the minute she came up to the table, her grandson approached me in spirit. And he wanted me to tell his grandmother something that he wanted to give her, a message, you know. So anyway, I gave her the message, and the whole time I was telling her what he was telling me, she got tears in her eyes, and she was just about really crying. And she says, I want to really thank you for this. She says, I always wondered, you know, about it. She says, I'm sure glad he was able to come to you. Well, anyway, next time I saw her, she wanted a reading that time,
Huh?
and I gave her a reading again. The grandson came over, and he told her that he didn't want her to blame his mother anymore for what happened. I guess he was riding in the car with her when the accident happened, and he told her not to blame his mother anymore because it wasn't her fault. And there
It's
again,
not.
she had this big old burden lifted up off of her because she was blaming the mother, and it was actually creating a chasm between her and her daughter-in-law. So anyway, one day we were talking on the phone again about insurance, and I gave her grandson came in again, and I told her what her grandson wanted me to tell her and everything. And anyway, she hung up, and I hung up, and I had to go outside and let my dogs go relieve themselves, and I was outside, and I was still in spirit. Just because the reading's over doesn't mean that I'm not in spirit anymore.
Right?
And he came up to me and he says, "Look over to your right." So I looked over to the right, and there was this big old beautiful rainbow, hugest rainbow I've ever seen in my life. And there wasn't a drop of rain around it. The sky wasn't cloudy or nothing. This rainbow was off to the right of me. I couldn't believe it. And as I was
Freaking
looking at it, he
amazing.
says, "I made this for you." I thought that was cool. He made that for me because I made his grandmother happy. I never had a spirit do that before. That kid was something else. But I get a lot of enjoyment out of doing what I do. I help people. I actually it's therapy for me too because they help me as much as I help people. So yeah, that was pretty neat. He gave me a present. That was probably one of the biggest, better presents I ever had in my life. I got a rainbow for a present.
Oh my gosh.
That's funny.
Okay,
I didn't
so
know they could make a rainbow.
let's say my sound sounds like shit right now, but my mother asked me what I wanted from Colorado when she went there. And guess what I asked for? Freaking rainbow! It's amazing because how do you capture a rainbow?
Yeah, hard. Really. Well, I know that little boy. He did it for me in spirit. He had it. It was the biggest damn thing I ever saw. All kinds of colors. Yeah. I just sat there and stared at it for about 10 minutes. It was great. We live just north of the Mexican border, pretty much. South of Tucson, southwest of Tucson, out in the desert. And so, there's a lot of open country between us and Mexico. And so when that rainbow opened up like that, it was pretty huge, and there wasn't anything blocking the colors or anything. And it was great, really great. That time I had tears in my eyes.
They just cannot feel you can see. I'm sorry about the feedback and stuff, but yeah, that's what I asked my mom. She's like, "What do you want when I go to Colorado?" So she went from Arkansas to Colorado. She went to Denver. She came down. She went to Mesa Verde. That's when she saw her death. She knew how and when she was going to die. But, yeah, that's what I asked for. Can you bring me back a rainbow? And she did. She sent me a fucking postcard with a rainbow on it. That was amazing. But yeah, I don't know if you know, but my mom knew. My mom knew when she was gonna die. And even my sister saw her. So I saw her in the dream. They saw this white box show up and walking across the sidewalk. I met with her. I talked to her. My sister, she actually saw her in person, like in our fucking living room, wearing the same dress she wore to her funeral. I don't know. And even Satan was there. Satan, same guy that was in my door. All these little guys, this guy showed up. He was there. Right at the scene of the crash. He was standing right outside of the limousine, wearing his fucking suit and tie, looking as gorgeous as ever, because, you know, that's the way Satan is. He just looks so gorgeous. He was there. He was waiting for her. Because, I think it was, she didn't agree with, I'm not going to be your wife. Guess what? I didn't either. Neither did my sister. We all fought him. We all denied it. And that makes me think of family curses. Do you think there's anything to that?
Family curses, did you say?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do believe families can be cursed. Individuals can be cursed, but I think families can be cursed. Somebody put a curse on the whole family, you know, that can happen.
No, I'm saying especially the girls. Came to me, searched me in my doorway. For my mom, who was right next to her fucking bed. My sister. He was laid reptilian style right on top of her. The only way she escaped him was she put her thumbnail right up under his skull and dug it in there. And that's the way she got away.
I had a guy that saw Satan. He was in his bedroom, and he said he was one of the most handsome men that he had ever seen.
That's what I just said. He was the most gorgeous man I'd ever seen.
So it's true. If you're looking at Satan as a horned devil, that's not Satan. But
I have to say, I'm amazed that somebody else besides me said the same thing.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that go on in this life that we cannot comprehend most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And like elementals, I mean, what are they? They've been around since the creation of the earth, you know. And they pretty much have free reign. I don't believe they have to live by any laws or anything that we necessarily have to live by. They're just there. They've been there since the beginning of time almost. And they'll probably be there when time ends. So I don't know what their place in the universe is, really. There's a lot of things, though, that do. I really don't know anything about. I try to go in and figure out, try to get in spirit and see if I can see some of that stuff or have my spirit guides tell me anything. But when it comes to things like elementals and stuff like that, that's like a hands-off type thing. I don't get very much on them at all. But yeah, Satan himself, fortunately, I do not like messing around with anything that has anything to do with Satan. The time I went to hell, I went there and not on my own accord. I was more or less pushed there, but I was returned all right. So anyway, that was okay.
Seriously. I feel like you went there, you observed, and that was not where you're meant to be. That is not your place.
And that was the place where that guy was supposed to be, even though he wanted me to take him out of there. No, sir.
Right?
But I was born with these abilities, and I use my abilities because I think God gave me these abilities from birth, and they're not evil.
Well, I'll tell you, brother. Sorry, there's a lot of static. But people are saying these people saying they have God-given abilities. That's the same way, like, Psychic Chris Garcia is. I totally believe he has God-given gifts. I believe I do too. I think we all do. I think they're going to lead to something, but right now, I ain't got the time to find it. But I'm telling you, these are really God-given gifts. Seriously.
I think a lot of people can become like sensitives, stuff like that, and they could even become better at it if they practice at it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Same way as being with like an empath.
Right?
A lot of people has abilities and they don't know what they are. They don't know what to do with them. And
no.
If they would take them and just, I don't know, try to develop them, embrace them instead of trying to push them away, they'd be much happier and they'd be able to do things more creatively.
You know what? It really is hard to pin it down, and there's things that are with not my eldest daughter, but the one I'm trying to get through school right now. She just feels enveloped. She can't even fucking do this, and I know she is so smart. She's so intelligent. Is it enjoyable? I don't freaking know, but it kind of feels like it. As far as my life goes, yes. I know he's putting his fingers in there, he's trying to penetrate my life, and yes, I know. Yeah, you did try to take me as a wife. Guess what? I'm gonna do it. Wouldn't be prudent. I'm gonna do it, brother. I see you talking, but I can't hear you. God damn it, Alan. Yeah, I'm trying to hear you. I just can't hear you. I see you talking. Now I can hear you again. Can you please say what you just said? Because I think there's something trying to block you. Please say it again.
I was on this radio show one time, And this young lady called in, and she said, Mr. Wright, she said, I was wondering if you could help me. I said, well, what's wrong? She said, well, I think I'm crazy.
I think I'm crazy.
Yes, she thinks she's crazy. I said, why do you think she's crazy? She said, well, I've been to a psychiatrist, and all they did do is give me pills and stuff. She said, I take the medication, and I feel like I'm dead on the inside. And she says, I'm just going crazy. And she says, I was wondering if maybe you could help me. And I told her, I'm going to tell you right. I said, you have gifts. You're a medium, you're an empath, and you're also a sensitive. And I told her that, first off, I said, do you hear voices when there's somebody there? She said, yeah.
She's like,
Do you see people that's not there? She said, yeah. I said, well, you're not crazy. I said, you're seeing spirits and hearing spirits. I said, that's one of your gifts. He said, yeah, but sometimes the spirits in. I said, yeah. I said, I've seen some things that would make a normal person run down the street, but I remember they're speaking and yelling, But I said that once you get used to it, once you hone in on that ability, you're able to control it more, and you know how to use it and have it use it to your advantage. And so by the time I was done talking to her and everything, she was actually laughing and giggling and stuff, because she told me, thanks a lot, Mr. Wright, you helped me, and I feel quite a bit better now. I think a lot of times people that they feel is insane or crazy might not actually be that way. I think a lot of times they have gifts that they don't know they have, and they don't know how to use them. So they feel like they are crazy because people are telling them they're crazy. Just like they're telling
that's the way it works. Like, we hear things, we see things, things are happening. Nobody else is seeing it, nobody else is hearing it. You must be batshit crazy.
Like I saw your dad walking on here, and I sent him over to you. I see spirits, and they see me. Then I have spirits around me all the time, and that's because they know they can communicate with me, and I can give messages to the loved ones. But a lot of times they try to disrupt everything. It's almost like a pile of ants trying to get in the same hole, at the same time. It just doesn't work.
That is scary. How do you deal with those ants? I don't know.
I close it when I want to be to myself, and I open it up when it's time to, like this show. I have my door open where they can communicate with me if they want. When I give a reading, I have the door open. I have it open on special things that's happening in the world and stuff also.
Right.
I have quite a few things that come up, and spirits come up to me and talk to me, just like these wars and stuff that's going on now.
I have to tell you, brother, I feel like this is the end. My only friend, the end. So there's Ukraine, there's Russia, there's China, there's...
They're going to be, we're going to be talking about them for a long time. I'm afraid.
This is going to be the end of times. We're going to take a register of it, and it's like, what else do we put in here? What other notes can we add? What exactly can you fucking add? I don't know. I just feel like this is the end. Really. It scares the shit out of me. I don't know what to think.
One thing you have to remember is if you're a good person, I don't think you have to worry much about it. I think in the end, I think we will be taken care of. And people like Putin and the rest of those idiots.
Mommy!
The rest of those idiots, they're going to be gone.
I think that too, but I think we're in there. We're gone. Like, we're going to be there in the middle of Ukraine, Saudi Arabia, Iran, etc., etc., etc. There we are. Oh, well, did we choose to be that way? No. No, the fuck we didn't. But guess what? That's where Sleepy Joe put us, and here we are. What the crap, dude? Like, seriously. I don't even freaking understand.
I saw what I saw. I know what's coming. And it's not pretty, but at the same time, I don't think we should worry about it that much, other than preparing our families. And like I said,
You know what? I don't think it's pretty either, but guess what? The things I've seen in the future as far as Dream Realm, all the things going on, like, I kind of feel like we're going to be right in the middle of it, and I don't want to be there. This is not a place for me to be, but do you see yourself there too, or no?
I'm 74 years old too, so if I see myself in it, it's going to be.
Dude, when you told me when your birthday was, I'm like, you're older than my dad. My dad was 49 and 2 months old when he passed away. And you're... No, seriously. I totally trust and believe in you, and I'm just like, what the crap? And I'm just blown away.
Well, if Wright's going to be here, then it's just a little ways off. I'd say within at least 20 years, 15 to 20 years. But anyway, I just about ran out of all my stories. I'm trying to think of another good story I could tell you.
What? Okay, so I have to say, like...
Since we moved into this house
I'm about to do the end song, and all of a sudden it's King Cinnamon and Rosie. No.
My mother...
Correct. That ain't correct.
My wife's mother's spirits here. Our dogs that we've had in the past.
Do the outro song. Let me figure that out.
When we pass over,
Outro song.
goes on the other side. We're gonna have our
Outro.
animals that we had
Where the
during
hell
our
did
lifetime.
it go?
We will be able to be with them
What
again.
the
Also.
crap?
I'm gonna have a whole herd of animals when I cross over.
I just have to say again, you
know,
guys.
Being an empath, they kind of gather around me all the
The
time.
things we're going through
like
in this day and
collect
age
animals.
and the process
come-
we're rambling
Come to me without me even calling them.
is freaking
The neighbors,
insane. Seriously.
ones out in the desert that got lost, they come over.
No, 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 no,
Yeah,
no.
well, they're
No,
going to be
no,
with
no,
us too
no,
when we pass
no,
over.
no. Oh, she's a brand. Wow. She's mighty, mighty. Just falling now. Guess what? Sorry. Got my hairs on my face, but hey, let's look for an outro, shall we? Outro.
Can I tell you a story about
Yeah.
healing I did?
What?
I was called by a neighbor
Only reality and the mud.
whose
What?
daughter was in a
What the
car
fuck?
accident.
Hold on. Let's go.